if he ever demonstrated, let's say he got all the way back in the last game of the year, he played, and he played really well, and he was the Alex Smith we know, I have to imagine someone would be calling Bruce Allen about him.
I would think so. 877 NFL Kick. Let's go out and hear from Indy Roy. He wants to talk a little Colts talk. What do you got today, Indy Roy?
I wanted to quickly touch upon Gerald McCoy. Being a Colts fan, I was hoping that Chris Ballard might go after him. I saw him as like maybe an $8 million value. But if he's going to be going from place to place on his free agency tour, I'd be willing to give him like a 3-year, $33 million type contract, because I think he's worth $11 million. They signed Marcus Hunt, and the word is that we're trying to develop younger players. I didn't understand that because Marcus Hunt's 31. But the real reason I called was because of Dak Prescott's coming up to be potentially extended. And Pat had a great breakdown when Russell Wilson was going through his contract renegotiation of how you would get the pace of pay. And I was just wondering if I was trying to get him at a $25 to $27 million deal, how that could be accomplished with bonus money. And I'll
yeah. Well, you'd love to do that and not have to go to $30 million a year. Two things: if you want to play in that range, you got to update the money that Russell got to the 2019 values, which you basically just did. You got to make it a short-term deal because he's want to get back to the bargaining table in 3 years. So you know, there's always a chance that you could get him. You don't want to go down the, God forbid, the franchise tag, because now the meter's running on him leaving you. Some respect, like you said, man, that guy's got it. This is going to be a heavy day for me. Someone had to bring it once in a while. Has brought it as.
Of upcoming quarterback contracts, that's what Indy Roy wants to talk about. He's in Houston tonight.
Thanks, Alex and Charles. You guys are doing great this evening. On Tuesday, I called and asked Pat Kerwin this question about Dak Prescott. Would it make sense to get him signed, maybe a 4-year, $7 million deal, keep him in that $27 million range? That way we could then figure out where to go with Zeke and Amari Cooper and Byron Jones and Jalen Smith and the rest of the roster. That's all before this came out tonight. The guy called in earlier saying we should give Patrick Mahomes maybe $37 million, and you know, he's the MVP of the league. It's the highest paid position in the league. Looking at the salary cap, it's about 19% of one player on a top 51 salaries. Where is the limit in your mind where you go, this is as much money as I can pay one player and still be able to pay other guys that's going to be a supporting cast on either defense like Lawrence or a wide receiver like Cooper? The great thing about Jared Goff, it allowed the Rams to be very aggressive in free agency, the same as the Browns are being very aggressive in free agency with Baker Mayfield. But once these guys are off that rookie deal and they're paid real money, the rest of the roster, you're going to have to be very creative.
You're right about that, Indy Roy, and thank you so much for the call. And one of the things that's tricky involving Dak Prescott and the leverage, one has to ask, you know, he's set to make $2.5 million this year, which by NFL quarterback parlance, it probably puts him at the bottom. Well, when the gap is $35 million for Russell Wilson, and while I love me some Russell Wilson, and I think Russell Wilson is a future Pro Football Hall of Famer, is he $32.5 million better over the course of a season than Dak Prescott? I mean, so just to put that in perspective,
and I love Russell Wilson too, but I'm with you. No,
I do.
That's a big gap.
Right.